Now, before I go any further, I have to talk about the events, what happened after I was laid off of my job. I was just going through some feelings right now. I didn't know what to think. I felt like, why God? This is where I wanted to be at. Why you doing this to me, you know? Hi, my name is Nathan and welcome to Your Come Up, where on Your Come Up, we talk about all topics to help you come up. Business, finance, personal, spiritual, and physical. Today, we're going to talk about how COVID changed my life. And here's a little disclaimer. This is not to discount of how the pandemic affected others and the people who lost their lives due to this pandemic. This video is about how the pandemic affected me. Let's be honest. I think the pandemic affected a lot of people, if not everyone, in some type of way or fashion. It sucks for some people lost their lives to it, but I just want to make this video because I felt it touched my heart to release this kind of content, as perhaps someone may get some benefit out of it. With that being said, if this is your first time here, consider subscribing. You know what to do. So before the pandemic, I felt everything was on track for me. I had a great job. I was managing a moving company, living comfortably. I wrote a few books and making a few pennies off of that, putting that into my kids' college fund. I felt, hey, this is it. I am cool with this for the rest of my life. Then, you know what happened? The Rona happened, and that changed everything for me. With the job I had, new ownership took over. They had their reasons. I was let go, even though it was with the intentions of bringing me back after the pandemic was over. I deep down, I had a feeling perhaps that may not be true, but I always wanted. I'm an optimist. I kept a little bit of optimism there. So hey, took the unemployment. Just stayed home, relaxed, had time, spent time with the kids, and it was all fun and dandy, right? Well, after about a week and a half to 2 weeks of doing that, I got bored. The kids became a bother. I couldn't take them out to the park, or I couldn't just take them out to the mall or let them unwind and loose up some energy. And you better believe Chuck E. Cheese was not around the picture. Everything was on lockdown. I think that's probably still fresh in our heads. So when I didn't have the kids, because me and my ex, we split the kids 50-50, I decided, well, I always had this idea to write a kid's book, and it was in my belly, to say the least, since 2010. I just never materialized or never did it. Never had a strong enough reason why to do it. It was never the time. Because I always had the time. It was just, I didn't have a strong enough reason to do it. Then, hey, when the kids are with their mom, I got sick and tired of watching TV and YouTube all freaking day. So I just decided to write a kid's book and did a little Christian theme based on it, which is called The New Kids. Right over there. Link in description, by the way. And when I wrote the New Kids book, I had no idea how to self-publish. So I found a lady on Instagram named Killian Wolf. I'll put her Instagram handle in the description, and scheduled a consultation with her how to self-publish a book. Very well worth the time, very well worth the 1 hour I spent with her. So I learned how to self-publish a book. Wrote the book, got an editor, edited the book, got an illustrator, designed the cover, got it copyrighted. I did all the details, all the instruction that she instructed me to do with our phone call. And then as I was writing the book, I also learned how to build an email list and built an email list to promote my books too, because I didn't have an email list. I never even thought about it. I was just cool with the few pennies and the salary that I had. But this is something that this book turned into something else, and this purpose turned into something bigger than just myself, because I wrote the book for the kids, for my kids, but because new kids, but because I wrote it for them, I want to do right by them. So I want to do it the right way. And when I created the email list and started sending, email newsletters about Christianity, personal development in Christian faith, that helped grow the email list. So when the New Kids was finally released and official and ready for sale, and I sent the email list out, the New Kids became the #1 news seller in terms of Christian children's fiction humor. So I'm thankful for that. And that was by God's grace, by putting the right people in place for me to allow that to happen, to make that happen. I give that to God, and I dedicate that book to God, because I dedicate my kids back to God, because they were God's gift to me. So what happened after the kids book? Wrote a book. I was still in a pandemic. It took me about maybe 60, 70 days to write the book, because I wrote a few pages every day, 4 or 5 days a week. So after that incremental time turned into a compounding effect where I finished the book rather quickly, and I'm on 60, 70 days or so. Well, after I wrote the book, I was bored again. It's like, okay, I wrote a book. What's next? I applied to some jobs, figured I'll apply to another moving company job, manager job, whatnot. And it just wasn't the right fit. One did agree to hire me, but it was out of state, and I would have agreed to work out of state as long as I could work remotely back home when I had the kids. It just wasn't gonna work. The wage was there, it just wasn't gonna work. And if it's not from God, it's not smooth. I joke with my friend of mine, whenever it's a blessing from God, it's smoother than a baby's ass. Yeah, it's smooth, and it just wasn't smooth. So it just didn't work. So after time, a friend of mine introduced me to TikTok. I think most of us probably got introduced to TikTok during the shutdown, during the pandemic, and I scrolled through it. I just didn't get it at first, but I made a couple videos here, a couple videos there, and after learning the basics and the functionalities of that app, I kind of dug video editing because my God-given gift is writing, and the way I looked at video when I made videos on TikTok, it's like storytelling in video format instead of storytelling by writing it out. So I liked it. I liked it a lot. So I figured, okay, let me learn a little bit about video editing. Perhaps like during a shutdown, like everyone else and their grandma, maybe I'll start a YouTube channel. Yeah, right? So I watched YouTube videos on what are the best video editing apps on there. What equipment should I need? Do I need to get a camera? No. So iPhone camera works just fine. I put like an 18 millimeter camera lens on my iPhone camera to give it a more wider, fuller picture. And what equipment, microphones, what video editing apps were really good. What I can use, I invest in a couple apps. $35 for the entire lifetime of the app, which is InShot. Video Leap I use, CapCut, iMovie is very basic, but it's free. It's a start. And I just learned how to film, which is easy. Everyone knows how to hit the record button, but also how to zoom in, zoom out, add music, graphics, some basic terminology like B-roll. I self-taught myself video editing by watching a lot of YouTube videos. And I'm looking back at my first YouTube video that I edited. It was just, the content was great. It was just the editing was like, oh my gosh. It's like getting a steak, but not putting enough salt on it. It needs more spice. So why did I decide to do a YouTube channel in its full motivational aspect? You can say I was bored, but also, I felt I wanted to leave something back for my kids again. And also I viewed it as a way to promote my books as well. Whenever I make valuable content, I always link my books to it. And it's something that'll be evergreen and forever relevant. And that's one of the reasons. So it was, to promote my books. It was a challenge that I view that, hey, I think I should do this. I want to do this. And I felt that it was God's plan for me to do a YouTube channel, because in Proverbs, many aren't the plans of the heart of a man, but it's the God that provides the proper steps for it. I'll put the scripture in the video as well. Now, before I go any further, I have to talk about the events, what happened after I was laid off of my job. When I was driving home, I was just going through some feelings right now. I didn't know what to think. I felt like, why, at least reassign me. I was doing great work. I wasn't doing anything to cost the company, like any litigious situation. I was doing good work at that point. And I felt it was undeserving. And I'm like, why, God? This is where I wanted to be at. Why you doing this to me, So on the way home, it wasn't really clear. And before I got home, I parked outside near a liquor store near my home, and I just sat in my car just thinking, what's the next move? Should I just relax? Should I just take it easy? What? A random guy came up to me. He thought I didn't live around the neighborhood, knocked on my window. I saw him on my peripheral, him approaching my car, but it just didn't register because I was still going through that feeling of being let go for, I can't even justify why, and I don't know what my next move is. So after we started talking, turns out he was Christian as well, and I believe the Holy Spirit somehow directed him to me to kind of give me some light. And turns out we both resonated with one another, because he said when he was a cop, he got let go by the force, and that's when he went into private investigating business himself, and he went into business himself, and that's the rest is history. I'm like, I don't know what business I'm gonna start. So going back to that's when I prayed about it, and that's when God gave me the instillment and the urge to write the kids book. Self-published it. I created an LLC called JR Miracle and Company. JAM, that's what the JAM stands for, Junior Miracle. My kids were gifts to me, and it's in the book of Matthew that with man it's impossible, but with God it's possible. And to me, since my ex was type 2 diabetic and high risk and high blood pressure, she was high risk pregnancy, and those two kids were God's gift to me, and they're perfectly healthy. So that's why I named the company JAM, JR Miracle and LLC, and use that company as a way to self-publish the book. And that was my way of, I guess, incorporating a business, starting a business. And the YouTube channel, goes back to the book, also goes back to my kids. And it was something new to do because I was getting bored just sitting at home watching Netflix all freaking day. So yeah, and now the rest is history. And before I go any further, I'd like to thank today's sponsor, Yapix Web Design and Graphics and Rated Comics, for allowing me to film in their comic book store location in Palm Springs. Now, as I started doing more YouTube videos and creating more content on social media, TikTok, Instagram, I didn't create any content on Instagram up until that point. Some people started noticing with the YouTube videos. I did not have a lot of subscribers at the time. I believe I was blessed with 30 subscribers at that time. But one person noticed my videos on YouTube and asked me, who edits your videos? I do. And person who's the owner of this comic book store asked me, well, can you do a comic book review for one of my comic books? Because I want to do a YouTube channel to promote my comic book. So the first comic book he gave me was a Marvel comic book, King in Black. Did a review on that, loved it, asked me to do more, asked me to do more, asked me to do more. And this is in the meantime I'm doing videos and looking for work here and there, but I was being very choosy because this is before the unemployment ran out. And the jobs that were out there, they were slim to none. I had a skill set. I was getting little freelance work here and there from people that saw my content on social media. Hey, I like who did that for you. Who did it? I did. Well, can you do this for me? Even other social media managers saw my content and asked, hey, can you edit a video for me, or can you do this for me? I'll pay you. So it was like little bits of grocery money that were coming in. But the comic book guy, we're gonna call him the comic book guy, when he asked me, can you do more videos, one thing began to another, another thing began another, and another thing began another, which turned into more work, more responsibility, an increase in income. And I prayed to God about, like, God, this is too smooth. Is this you right here? Is this you doing this? Is this where I need to be? And it turns out 2 days later, he just made an offer. It's like, whatever you need, I got you. Just, I want you here full time. And you can still film in my comic book store. You can still, because before when I was filming my YouTube videos, I was filming at my mentor's car storage garage location. And that was a great place. But when, he sold the place, he had his reasons to. And we're still obviously amicable, all good. I just need another place to film. And I did not want to film at home because to me, home is where it's my solitude. I'm too much at peace to film at home. And I don't feel like I could get any work done like that. So he offered to film in the comic book store, which is kind of peculiar and odd to make YouTube videos in a comic book store, but seems like some people dig it. Like and comment below what you guys think about filming in a comic book store location, YouTube videos. So I also filmed the YouTube channel for the comic books in this store as well as mine. And it was just smooth. The transition was great. There's perks in here and there. So I guess what I'm saying is, even though the pandemic sucked for a lot of people, and it sucked for me too initially, with God and faith and just going through and just praying about things and asking God to give you something, because he does lay out the path that you need to take. If he shuts a window, he opens a door for you. And even though my window with the moving company is non-existent at this point, I still know the business is non-existent at this point. I feel like this is the place I need to be at right now until God tells me to move. And that's why I think COVID was the best thing that happened to me, because if it wasn't for COVID, I would have never written that kid's book. I was just too comfortable with myself. And I think God wanted me to get comfortable with being uncomfortable, because he puts you in these tests to test out your faith. And also, I probably would have never started a YouTube channel if it wasn't for COVID either, because I was too comfortable. And I also want to touch on with why did I lose my job? It was never clear, but after those events passed, I later came across the book of Job. And when I read that, for those of you that may not be familiar with it, Book of Job is about God allowing Satan to test out Job and inflict all this damage on Job. Family loss, children, just pretty much take away everything from Job and give him boils on his skin. And then when Job asks God why, God never explains why, but at the end, God blesses Job with double than what he had before. I didn't look at it as, okay, God was testing Job and Job passed the test. No, God never explained why he allowed Satan to test out Job. He never even told Job that I allowed Satan to test you out. It was just one of those, to me, trust God's wisdom. That's what I got from the book. Just trust God's wisdom. And I just had to trust God and do the work, because faith without works is dead. That's in Hebrews. So with that being said, that's pretty much my story. I enjoy a good story from time to time, and I hope you enjoyed that story too. If you got something out of it, fantastic. I imagine you did get something out of it. And I'm going to end the video right there. If you like the content I'm throwing up, you know what to do. Don't be shy. Don't be stingy. And if there's any other content or ideas you want me to do, Comment below, let me know, and I'll be more than happy to do it. Thanks again for watching Your Come Up. Until next time.